Another week, another loss, and the New York Giants may never win a football game again.
You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the New York Giants Squad Show. I am Brandon Olsen, joined by two-time Super Bowl champ Mark Collins. And Mark, once again, we have to come on here for an hour and talk about that awful performance. I do want to start off with something that I thought was incredibly interesting from this game, that the Giants seemed like they did not want to throw the football at all. They didn't even attempt to pass officially until 18 minutes into the game. The only two dropbacks in the first quarter were Jackson Dart getting sacked with a attached to it and then got negated, and then Jackson Dart getting actually sacked. And then, of course, the first pass attempt was a drop pass to Theo Johnson.
You know what, Brandon? I during the show last week, the pre-show on Thursday, we all talked about how great of a coordinator Brian Flores was, all the confusion he caused with quarterbacks, yada, 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 all this stuff. And my thing was, if I were the Giants offensive coordinator, I would want to shorten the game. And the reason I said that, because what Brian Flores does, he does confuse a lot of quarterbacks. He's very good as a defensive coordinator. And I think he has a good shot of being a head coach again somewhere soon. And I thought the Giants did the right thing by not throwing the ball as well. Because to get a defense, to keep a defense, honest, you gotta run the ball. And you gotta do it from under center. And the Giants did that to perfection for a quarter and a half. So I didn't mind the Giants not throwing the ball. It was perfect. They were running the ball, getting 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 yards a clip, and keeping that defense honest. They did that with perfection. And for some reason, and under the center, so it looked good. And it worked. It shortened the game, kept the game close to the end result, 16-13. But that second half, when they start doing stuff out of the gun, trying to run the ball and stuff like that, well, Brian Flores changed it up. That first quarter especially, he went with a 3-man front. That second half, he came with a 4-man front to take the run away, daring the Giants to throw the ball. The Giants went to that gun formation, that shotgun formation, tried to run the ball, not as effective, and they tried to run it outside. You're not going to run the ball outside in the 4-man front. You're not going to do it. So going back to what you said earlier about one coach was being outcoached by the other, you saw one coach get outcoached by the other.
Yeah, I feel like that was the thing too, because Brian Flores, he is, like you mentioned, fantastic DC. And we'll be honest here, right? I mean, if it weren't for other factors, he'd probably be a head coach again right now, right? Like,
probably, right.
With all that, he'd probably be a head coach again right now. And he will probably eventually earn that opportunity. But I do think that this was just Brian Flores. You mentioned once he added another defensive lineman, I was like, all right, well, maybe now you see the under center play action. And then they went, you know what? No, we're gonna come out in the gun and we're gonna run some weird boomerang motion and then counter off of that. I had no idea what they were doing. Like, it felt like for the first bit, it did feel like, okay, they're gonna keep running this football until Minnesota stops them, because they were being successful with it. But then it was, we're still not going to do it. And it kind of just felt like, you were just scared to throw the football at that point. It kind of just felt like when they were kind of giving it to you, you were just, I'm still not going to do it.
Yeah. But you got to remember, I mean, even with the Giants today, their offensive line problems, the easiest thing to do for offensive linemen is to run the ball. And you were doing it effectively. Keep doing it. you're making yards, you're shortening the game, okay, and you're not putting this offensive line, this basically makeshift offensive line, in a situation where they got a pass pro. And you do that, run. You can play action under the center and make something happen, throw the ball down the field if you wanted to, or just keep milking that clock and running the ball. Well, you saw in the second half when they tried to do it, got out of that run offensive situation under the center and try to do some stuff from the gun, and the offensive linemen, they're makeshift at this point. The communication was awful, and you're going to put that quarterback, Jackson Dart, in a situation like that with that offensive line, you get what you get. And we saw what happened. Minnesota came with pressures, and Brian Flores is good at that, and Jackson Dart couldn't do anything in that second half. But the Giants, on the whole, a couple of drops in there. We'll talk about that later on. They played the game the way I thought they would play it. Just take the air out of the ball, bleed the clock, snap the ball with 1 or 2 seconds left, on the play clock, and then just let's see what happens. But overall, it came down to a couple of plays here or there, and one coach was way better than the other.
Yeah, and again, like, it's the guy that everybody goes, oh, I want him, or not everybody, but that a bunch of people go, oh, I want him to be my next head coach, with the guy where they go, well, he's our head coach because we fired our last one. I think that's a very clear difference there between what you're looking at and on the coaching staff, at least. But you mentioned, having success running the football was honestly kind of impressive, considering that the Giants went into the game without their left guard. And then into the game, they lost their left tackle and they lost their center. And obviously, Andrew Thomas being the left tackle is the most notable of the bunch. But like, it was kind of impressive to watch the Giants have an above average day for them on the ground without, basically the left side of their line.
Yeah, well, once again, the easiest thing to do for a lineman, whether you're a starter or a backup, is to move forward, is to run block. Move the guy forward, turn to either side, let the running back do the work. And they did that effectively for the first quarter, I saw. And then things got out of sync and all hell broke loose. But again, if they would have made certain adjustments, not too many, but just go back. Usually in a game, when I'm playing, as a defensive player, you got to survive the first pretty much 20 plays or 2 drives, okay? Once you survive that, then it's up to the offense to change, because as a defense, we know what you're going to do. So you take that, we took that format, okay, cool. Then you start in the second half. And the adjustments made, we go in as defense, we know, okay, this team did this. Okay, we got to make adjustments to these plays. And once we do that, we know how to come out for the second half to make the adjustments, so that to expect what the offense is trying to do to us. Offense do the same thing. We have this script plays, this work, that work. Then we're going to throw all this other stuff out and come and do this. So when we saw what the Vikings did with their defense, the change to offset what the Giants were doing effectively running the ball, Flores made the adjustment. What we saw what the Giants did to kind of, stave off that change, well, they went to the gun and tried to run the ball. Well, your back is already 7 yards off the ball, and your quarterback is already 6 yards off the ball, and you're going to hand the ball him, and he's going to go to a run and start. But now, the defense, you got an extra lineman in there, and now you're asking your makeshift offensive line to get push on a defensive lineman, maybe a yard or two, but you're already 5-6 yards behind them. Instead of under center, making a 4-yard push from the back behind going forward, it just wasn't going to happen, and it didn't happen. And then the Giants are trying to throw the ball, and the signals were the offensive line couldn't pick up the adjustments and all that stuff, and the game ended the way it ended, ugly.
Yeah, I feel like with the offensive line, it was kind of a two-prong issue in pass protection because there
Mhm.
was, of course, the communication issue, which
Yeah.
happens all the time. Like I remember I think it was preseason last year talking to Andrew Thomas, and Andrew Thomas was just like, just get someone next to me that's going to be there the whole
Yeah.
time, and like it's
Yeah.
so much easier because I can communicate with that person and talk with that person. And obviously, that wasn't the case at all, and that makes communication harder. But it also felt like at some points, even when communication did go well, that pressure just still came in right away, or that like because when a defense is sending 6 guys at the line, usually the
Yeah.
opposing they're going to leave the edge guy unblocked because that's the furthest one. So you just got to be hot with the ball. And it felt
Yeah.
like when they did, that wasn't the case in this game. That Jackson was just taking a hit after a hit.
Well, yeah, he was because when the play develops, when the play starts, that center has to call all the line adjustments, and Jackson is looking at the safeties. So the center's looking at the linemen and linebackers. Jackson's looking at the linebackers and the safeties, defensive back. So it's kind of a cross. So the quarterback, Jackson, has to go, okay, cool. I got to trust my lineman. I got to trust my center to make sure they pick up the line stunts and everything else. Well, if your center is not on page with the guard and tackle and vice versa, and that center is not on the same page with the quarterback, there's your miscommunication. There's where, what's the old movie in Cool Hand Luke? What we have here is failure to communicate. And then, you don't turn somebody loose. And when you turn somebody loose, usually a quarterback gets hurt, or somebody's going to get hurt, or there's going to be a sack or a turnover. And that is what I saw a lot in the second half when the adjustments weren't made. I thought the Giants should have made or stayed with running the ball, taking the air out of the ball, keep things simple for your linemen. Because once you establish something that you can do, and even if Brian Flores put in an extra lineman, don't run the ball outside. You're not getting outside. They tried to run the ball outside. No, keep running in between guard and tackle. Just running the 2 hole and 3. Just run up the middle. Run. They didn't do it. So, the adjustments that were made and weren't made from one side to the other on offense and on defense to a point, it shows the strength of a coaching staff. It shows some of the strengths and weaknesses of some of the players that the Giants have on offense.
Yeah, and I feel like that's also one of those things when we talk about a Brian Flores defense specifically, like everyone knows he's going to just be a lunatic. Like that's what he's known for. He's known for being the mad scientist with Cody Alexander of matchquarters.com calls them hot quarters, where it's basically playing quarters coverage on the back end, but they're sending 5 or 6 at you and you got to adapt really quickly. And it just felt like, I don't know, it kind of felt like, yes, running the football was the way to attack it, but that when you threw the football, you kind of had no idea what you were going to do with it at that point, unless I'm just wrong. But I do feel like when they tried to throw the football, they kind of just like didn't know what their plan was.
Well, yeah, but Brandon, check it out. When a team knows you got to throw the football, it's easy to play that way. But when the Giants were running the ball, if it was 3rd or 4, 3rd and 3, you got a waist down in there. 2nd and 3, you got a waist down to take a shot, especially on some play action. You can do the flip you want. But when they got you behind the sticks and, a 3rd and long, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and they know you got to throw the ball, and you got a mad scientist like that in Brian Flores who can draw some stuff up, oh man, that's easy pickings. And that's where the Giants got in trouble in that second half when they couldn't make the adjustments.
Yeah, Brownsville's very own gave him hell in this one. We are going to be talking more about this insane game. Incredibly frustrating. I think that's the only thing. Every time I was just watching this game, I was just like, what the hell is going on? We'll try to explain some of it when we get back with the Giants squad. Car shopping should feel exciting, not confusing. And with Car Gurus, you get the confidence that you deserve. They cut through all the noise so you can actually see the best deals on the cars that you want, because when it comes to a big purchase, you deserve the best deal. And Car Gurus makes it that the whole process simple by giving you real information, real deal ratings, and more listings than anyone else, so you can shop the way that you want. Car Gurus connects you with trusted dealerships for a transparent and hassle-free buying process. With over 4 million listings, the most of any major online automotive marketplace, you'll always find the best deal. Shop the way you want with the tools, data, and unbiased deal ratings that make it easy. Buy or sell your next car today at cargurus.com. That's CARGURUS.com, cargurus.com. Welcome back to the New York Giants Squad Show, talking about this, again, disappointing, frustrating loss to the Minnesota Vikings. I am Brandon Olsen, joined by Mark Collins, two-time Super Bowl champion. And Mark, we spent that whole time talking about this New York Giants offense against the Minnesota Vikings defense. And the Giants defense was interesting because I feel like they had their moments where it's like, all right, they're doing probably what they're supposed to do in these instances. They're making some solid plays, but it felt like every time they did screw up was a backbreaker. Like it felt like they go, all right, like we're gonna play well first and second down.
Yeah.
But you screen on third down, you're getting this first down easily.
That was the biggest downfall for the Giants defense. I thought they played overall, I would say B. I give them a grade B, just to be fair. But when it was third and long, they couldn't get off the field. I mean, I counted at least, I think three times it was 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 13 plus or whatever it was, or longer than 3rd and 13. And then the Vikings throw a little over middle route, the guy run for 20 yards, or a quick screen, the guy gets 15 yards, missed tackles. And I'm like, man, why can't the Giants get off the field on 3rd and long? That's what killed them, I think. I mean, I know the touchdown that was called back on lineup offsides by Abdul Carter, that hurt. But not to the point, but they gave up a touchdown. I think they gave up 3 points on that drive. But that 3rd and long, it was they had trouble with that. And I don't know if that's play calling, if it's effort, or a mixture of both. Because on all the ones that I've seen, that they gave up a first down, it was more effort. I think the calls were correct. Maybe, and I don't want to nitpick on how deep the players were playing, but they still should have made the tackle. Most of them, all of them, were because they missed tackles. On one particular play, I forget the receiver's name from the Vikings. It was Jefferson. He made 4 people miss, and it was 3rd and 14 or 15. And he got 16 to 17 yards and a first down. And I was going, you got to be kidding me that these guys can't make a tackle on 3rd and long, And then we go to the last play of the game where it's 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8. And you make a stop. You got a chance to get the quarterback, the Giants offense, another shot at either a game tying or game winning, field goal to win at the end, and they get a first down, and they close out the Vikings close out the game. So I give the Giants a B, and I don't want to nitpick on too many players, and we'll talk about a couple. And I know you have a couple that we'll talk about, but I give them a B overall.
Yeah, I think for me the most frustrating part of it was the multiple times where it was 3rd and whatever, because there were some instances where it was shorter, but there were multiple times where it was 3rd and whatever. I think it was 3 times total where the Vikings threw a screen and converted the first, and every time they converted, it was barely converting the first. like you mentioned, the 3rd and 14, 3rd and 15, whatever it was for Justin Jefferson, he gets 16, 17.
Yeah.
There was another time where I think it was 3rd and 7, he gets 8. It was just like, why can we only make the tackle immediately after they pass the first down marker. I don't get it. I think it comes down more to effort, like you said. I think because for me, like I'm obviously you played football at a high level. I played football at almost a high level. You know, New York City high school is the same thing. But I think everybody that I know will go, okay, once it's a screen, you got to come down and make the tackle. And they just did it.
No.
They were just like, you know what? Someone else will get them. And no one ever did. And they would always convert the first down just barely. And that was like, if you break a 40-yarder, then you break a 40-yarder. But it's 3rd and 14, you pick up 15 or 16. And that's an incredibly frustrating thing to watch, of just barely converting those third downs.
Yeah, well, you see, as a defensive player, we expect to stop teams if it's 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15. We expect to stop that. And even offensive players expect your defense to stop, because you hear the coaches on the sideline yelling, punt return, punt return. you know that. But when you don't do it and haven't done it consistently over the year, well, this is what you get. It is what it is. So this is what I'm saying, Brandon. This should not be surprising to us. This shouldn't be surprising to Giants fans. It shouldn't be, because they've done this the whole damn year. So as frustrated as I am, and as yours, as the fans are, this has been well documented in the DNA of the Giants defense this whole year. That's why, one defense coordinator gets fired and the coach gets fired. And we got these intern coaches still trying to coach or teach. I don't know what they're doing right now, but the same result still happens. So that's why I said, and we had this conversation before in our previous shows, this whole thing has to get cleaned up. I mean, I know this is an interim coach and staff, but the stink is still there from the other coaches who got fired. So that's where I'm going with this. So, we shouldn't expect anything different. Not this week, even next week of the year, the week after. It's going to be the same thing.
Yeah, I think that first off, like when the commentators at one point during the game went, "Oh yeah, Mike Kafka's in the running to be the Giants head coach," I was like, "Please God, no!"
Please,
first response was, "Oh please, like I'll fight you right now. I know Jonathan Dome was way bigger than me. I'll fight him about it. That's fine."
Yeah.
I think when we talk about like screens and everything, and 3rd and 15, like even the offense isn't expecting to convert that. Like the offense is like, this is very not likely that we convert this if we like the amount of times that you see an offense now when it's 3rd and 15 or 3rd and long and they go, we're going to run the ball or we're going to throw a screen and we're just going to, get a couple yards that we can closer call this. And if we convert, that's great. We got lucky. But when it happens multiple times, it's not getting lucky. It's just
they know.
It's like it's just bad defense at that point. But you touched on it before, and I wanted to circle back to it. The Javon Holland pick six brought back due to Abdul Carter lining up offsides.
Yeah,
I know the play sucked. I will say one of the things that I did appreciate was because when Javon Holland came in, one of the traits that people talked about was his leadership in Miami and how he translated there and how he would come in and translate here. And I do like that he was the guy that got screwed on that. Like he had the pick six, they got called back, and he went right up to Abdul Carter, gave him the and got right back on the field. And I did appreciate seeing that leadership where it's so easy to watch guys quit now. And even the commentators kind of talked about it with Aaron Jones. When Aaron Jones was banged up all game, you had that 3rd and 7, and it's hey, if you convert this, you win the game. He's banged up. They're telling him to come out. He's like, no, I want to stay in. I want to get this, and converts it. And they're like, you're not playing for anything. Like there's no real like prize that you're winning at this point anymore, other than just pride. It's nice to still see some veterans carry that over and kind of carry that. Just we're still going to do things the right way.
Oh, sure. And that's where, a lot of people always harp on the money these guys make. And it's not all about the money. It's about your pride. It's about, you want to do the things that's right. And when Holland um embraced Abdul Carter after the mistake, man, that's part of the game. It's not like like Abdul did it on purpose. That stuff happens. And being a leader, that's one of the things you got to do. You got to bite the bullet. You know what, dude? Let's go. Next play. Next play. Because that next play after that, he was in on that sack, on that pressure, right? And I think the Giants gave up 3 points on that instead of,
Yep.
could have been more, but they gave up 3, which kept them in the game. As far as Jones going out, the same thing. It's about pride. You want to be a part of something. You want to finish the season strong, even though neither team is going to the playoffs. But you're playing for your pride. You're playing for your team. You're playing for your fans, and you're playing for your city, and you're playing for your family, and you're playing for yourself, for other teams who may see you, may want you for their services if you don't make that same respectable team. So that's a lot of things that go into that. So, leadership is also involved with that. So, that play was a very big, could have been a turning point. That touchdown would have stood from Holland for Holland. Would have been great, but it didn't. So you move on. I think all the players rallied around that play from Abdul, and the defense still played well enough to win. They just didn't get it done when they had to stop them on that 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8 to get the ball back to the offense for one more try.
I'll tell you, not many times this year we've been able to say the defense played well enough to win. The defense played well enough to win, and then this time they did. I will ask, as a defensive player, is that a thing when you have like a pick six or a fumble six that gets called back because of a penalty? And again, in this case, it was essentially a pre-snap penalty. Like it was just lined up offsides. It's not like you mentioned, like it's not like he did it on purpose. It's not like he got into like a unsportsmanlike conduct afterward.
Yeah.
But when you have a defensive touchdown called back, is that demoralizing because they're so hard to come by, or is that we had it like we had it before, we could do it again kind of situation?
No, not at all. It's not demoralizing, because if it was, the Giants defense would have folded the next 2 or 3 plays, or they would have folded down the line. As far as giving up big plays. I'm not talking about giving up the 3rd down to close out the game, but it would have shown earlier, is what I'm saying. So it's not demoralizing. Oh man, that's messed up, and then they quit. No, in this league, it's always about the next play, not the one that got away. It's the one you're going to get down the road, and you saw it. You saw the next play. What happened afterwards? So it's not demoralizing. Now, game being over, we can all sit back and have a beer and go, you know what? Damn, I wish you would have had that play would have stood. But there's nothing you can do about it. It's gone. So you move on to the next play, the next game, the next situation. Now, maybe on the high school level and some college levels, sometimes that could linger. But then too, it all depends on who your people are, who the people you're playing with on the team. You saw what Holland did. You saw Lawrence come up, talk to Abdul. All that stuff. That's leadership. It's all about the people you're playing with. So no. But I've seen some places where I've seen people lay down after that play, like, and you start pointing fingers and fighting on the sidelines. You probably saw some stuff like that too. But that does happen. That happens. But I'm glad it didn't happen in this case.
Like I said, like I played New York City high school football. Trust me, I saw people get really mad. I've seen people get really mad over even smaller infractions.
And you've seen probably parents do it too. Parents want to fight the refs or fight some other. Yeah, I've seen that too. So yeah.
Yeah, everybody gets really upset about things that just happen in football. We're going to talk about, speaking of things that just happen in football, I mean, 1,000 penalties in this game. It was just nuts. We'll talk about that when we get back with this New York Giants squad show. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. I mean, sometimes it's a pick six that gets called back, sometimes it's not. And that's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. So you're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time, right? You see that the Giants are running the football a lot, running the football successfully on that first drive. Maybe you take Tyron Tracy's rushing yards live right there, because with FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit fanduel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thanks again for making this New York Giants squad show your first listen of the day every day. And Mark Collins is here with me, two-time Super Bowl champ. And Mark, have you ever played in a game where there have been 21 penalties?
Absolutely not. No. It's been that many penalties, huh?
Yeah,
That many.
Honestly, let me double check that, because they
Yeah.
might have even gone higher than that. It was ridiculous. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
That'd be something not accepted. So
Yeah. That was the most ridiculous thing I've seen, where just so many flags for everything.
yeah.
I mean, it was just crazy to watch, just sloppy football.
And there's a reason you get there. Number
22.
one,
22.
So usually those penalties come from undisciplined teams, and which falls on coaching, because there's a, I'm not gonna say the word culture. There's a presence about yourself that you should have as a player, and you should know how to play the game correctly. I know penalties happen. 1, 2, 3, a couple. Yeah, got it. But 22 is a lot. And back in the old days, the Raiders used to be one of the most penalized teams in all of football. But that was their makeup. That was their moniker. It was, we just win, baby. We don't care about the penalties. Nowadays, I think the onus is on the coach. What's being taught? Like pass interference, you're not teaching your players how to look or turn for the ball. These guys are holding players. We don't have to. I think Dexter Lawrence had one holding penalty when he didn't have to. I know why he did it, to get his linebacker free on a stunt, but you don't have to hold to do that. Proper technique gets you to that situation. But when you have 22 penalties, and I don't know what the division is for them against the other team.
11 and 11.
Damn.
11 and 11.
Yeah, that's a lot. So, you just go, that's either it's coaching, someone's on the coaching, someone's on the players, and some is just probably maybe some of those guys just say the hell with it. I'm gonna do what I got to do to make a play, and I'm not trying to serve up excuses, but from a guy myself who probably had maybe 5 penalties in my 13 career, history of my 13 career, I'm smart and I know how to get away with things. I know how to do things correctly and properly. I'm not saying that I'm perfect having 5 penalties. I probably got away with more that wasn't called.
You also just said, I know how to get away with things. And that's...
Yeah. Being a veteran, you know how to get away with things. So, but that's a lot of penalties, Brandon. That's too many.
Yeah, I mean, and defensively, there were 4 for the Giants, right? It was Dexter Lawrence had the defensive holding, and he had, I believe it was a neutral zone infraction, where they thought the Vikings false started.
Yeah,
so he went into it to try to get the call, but instead they called it on him. So those were his 2. Abdul Carter lined up in the neutral zone, and that was his one. And the other one was, I think when you mentioned guys just saying, I got to do what I got to do to make a
Yeah.
play. There's Drew Phillips in the pile, just
Yeah.
ripping the ball from
That
Aaron
was,
Jones, even though it was well after the play. I think it's moments like that you see it, and it's just like, even the commentators are like, what the hell are you doing here at this
yeah.
point?
Yeah.
Especially,
That doesn't help. Yeah. That, penalties like they go, what the hell are you doing, dude? That, we don't need that. But overall, when you think about it, 4 penalties on the defense is not bad. That's,
nope.
and this, since we just talked about what they were, you go, okay, that stuff happens. But the other one, what Drew did was, that's not necessary. But 4 penalties. I've seen games, 6, 8, 9 penalties on the defense, and crucial penalties, right? We're talking like roughing the passer penalties, you know,
Yeah,
15 yards out of that first, that hurts. Those are the ones that hurt.
yeah. Glad Drew Phillips didn't get any of those. He is one of the most penalized players in the NFL this year. I mean, he's had a rough go of things out there. But
You know what, Brennan?
yeah, I will ask: is that fixable?
It's fixable. One thing about it, I'm gonna say I like his motor. I like how he goes at it.
Yeah,
Go. And when you go like that, there's some things that come with that, and it's the penalties. So that's where I would, if I were his coach, I would try to work with him on that. And most of his penalties are pass interference.
yep.
I'll work. That's something you can work on. I could work with him on if I was his coach, because that's teachable. Some coaches don't want to teach that. In my opinion, I think they don't know how to do it. And I talked to a lot of college coaches, defensive back coaches, and it frustrates me because I'm telling these guys, and I go, why aren't you teaching these guys, the proper technique of turning for the ball, knowing, having a player, knowing where they're on the field. Anything after 15 yards on the college level is a deep route. So you might as well tell your players to turn and look for the ball, not inside. Just look for the ball. And they say, well, Coach Collins, we don't teach that because we just tell them to man them up, like just screen them out, because it's not a spot foul. It's it's only 15 yards from the ball. And I'm going, you effing idiots! You're teaching them stupid, just dumb stuff.
Yeah, you're making them worse long term.
Yeah,
Because in the NFL, they're going to do that.
They're going to do it, and they're doing it in the NFL. So no, teach them the proper techniques. So when they get to the league, if they're lucky, they're ready to play. They're ready to play. So so that I lost my train of thought because I know we were talking about penalties, but yeah, something like that. You're teaching the defensive backs in college, since it's not a spot foul. It's 15 yards when the ball was snapped. Dude, now these guys are in the league. They're being taught not to turn and look for the ball. That touchdown, it was incomplete. That was against Cordell Flott. If he would have turned and looked for the ball, that would have been a pick. But the receiver caught the ball, he fumbled it in his zone, so it wasn't a touchdown. It was an incomplete pass. But if he would have turned and looked and found the ball, that's an easy pick. So, I just think some of these guys, they're not being taught correctly. And if I had a defensive back coach, just sit and watch film with them and just tell them, you know what, if you just turn and look after, in the pros, it's like 17 or 20 yards, it's a deep ball. So all you got to do is turn and look. Yeah, some of these guys could get a 28-yard comeback because these guys on the pro level got stronger arms. They can make that happen. But if you just use your head and know you're on the field, you'll get more picks or PBUs than PIs.
Yeah, and it would be lovely to see. I think for me and every Giants fan I see in the live chat right now, I think we would all love to see more plays being made and less flags being thrown against
Yeah.
this team would be really fun to see. Offensively, Aaron Stinney, who got the start for John Runyon Jr., who I believe his wife is having a baby, and that's why he was
very good
in this game. 3 penalties in this game for him. Jackson Dart had 1, Tyrell Tracy had 1, Jermaine Illuminor had 1, Chris Manhertz had 1, and Marcus Mbow had 1. But Marcus Mbow is someone that when he got drafted out of Purdue this year, I did not think he was going to – first off, I didn't think he was going to play tackle here. Secondly, I know he didn't play amazing, but I do feel like every time he's come in, he's not been really bullied by anybody. Like for a rookie, I feel like I usually expect a rookie offensive lineman to come in and just get bullied. And I feel like that hasn't happened at this point. He's at least relatively held his own. And I think that's really impressive and a testament to Carmen Brasillo on the offensive line for getting these guys ready, which overall this year, I think Carmen Brasillo has done a pretty good job of getting whatever lineman he can get available because, you mentioned it's makeshift. It's the island of misfit toys out there on the offensive line. And he's just they're coming out, and there's not this big significant drop off when guys go out. I mean, even this game, you lost 3 starters by halftime.
Yeah, the offensive line in itself. I mean, and being a rookie, you just want to hold your own. That's all you want to do. You want to be as basic as possible, which goes back to what I said earlier. We talked about earlier in the show. Run blocking is easy. So you got a rookie in there, just run block them. Run block them. You got a makeshift line. These guys haven't really communicated that much all year. These guys are pretty much new together. Run block them. It's easy. You get in trouble when you go to the gun and you're playing against Brian Flores, a very good defense that's always on the move. They're mixing people. Somewhere in translation gets lost. Communication gets lost in translation. Bad things happen. And we saw that in the second half. But overall, I think they did good. Okay. Let's say okay, not good. Okay. They did okay enough to win with 13 points. I think even if the Giants defense would have stopped the Vikings on that last 3rd and 7 or 8, I would have liked to see one more shot at the offense to try to drive for a game-time field goal or game-winning touchdown. Would have been nice to see. I don't know what kind of plays they would have called from under center, run the ball. I don't know. We got a minute, 40-something seconds left. It's got to be passing. So you're going to be from the gun. So, anything could happen. You never know. But overall, I think the offensive line did very well enough to win, to compete at least, especially running the ball.
Yeah, all things considered, expectations were not high when you had that many injuries on the line. But I will also bring up Jackson Dart before we hit our last break. Jackson Dart 7 for 13 passing today, 6 sacks, just brutal game. But I'm bringing up the stats specifically because obviously film tells it all. But 7 for 13 passing, 33 yards and a pick. 3 drops. He had 6 incompletions. 3 of them were drops. Even the pick was offhand.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just I feel like it was an awful game for him to just have to deal with at this point. I mean, it sucked. The Darius Slayton drop late.
Oh God, that was so bad.
Breaker. It was just a backbreaker. How do you kind of evaluate his performance where you go, hey, you didn't get many opportunities. When you threw the football, you weren't that bad, but there were plenty of drops that if someone's looking at the box score, they're going to go, oh, this guy sucks.
Well, yeah, you can't blame Jackson for that. The tipped interception, the drops. I mean, with the offensive line he had in front of him in the passing situations, he's scrambling for his life. Sometimes, I always say this, stats do lie. It just does. They do. So, it's not like he's just throwing the ball right at defensive backs and linebackers for the whole part. One he did that was dropped.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's oh God, that was one of his worst.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was doing with that one. I'm not gonna write that one. I have no idea what he was doing with that one. That
was nobody there, Brandon. So what the hell are you throwing to? But overall, I mean, the drops, the tip pick, the attempts he had, it is what it is. That was the game plan. They stuck with it. It was enough for them to win the game without him scrambling and trying to run for his life. It was enough. The game plan was solid enough for the Giants to win. They just didn't win. So the stats, they lied based on a number of opportunities he had to throw the ball. He did what he had to do. But the picks and drops, that made it look even worse.
Yeah, it's crazy to say, like, oh yeah, he didn't have the passing production. Still did do enough to put them in position to win. And
Yes.
he wasn't doing it with his legs. I thought that was going to be part of it, honestly, going into this game, was that he was going to quickly just bail into like the A gap if he had if the pressure was coming off the edge, that he was going to quickly bail into the A gap, and that was going to be his plan. And this was going to look like that, like kind of like the Chargers game early in the year. Like, they got a great pass rush, but you got to grit and grind your way here. And I kind of thought that's what he was going to do. And instead, he's like, nope, I'm just going to hand it off and try to make it happen there. Mark, we got 15 minutes left here. We're going to come back, talk about if this team's going to win a game again. They haven't done it since week 6, by the way, which that was a game that gave us a lot of hope. We'll talk about that when we get back with the New York Giants Squad Show. Welcome back to the New York Giants Squad Show. I am Brandon Olsen. This is Mark Collins, 2-time Super Bowl champ. And the last time that the New York Giants won a football game was against the Philadelphia Eagles. Of all teams, the team that won the division is the only division win that the Giants have this year. And their other win, of course, was week 4, Jackson Dart's first start against the LA Chargers. It's been all down. Remember week 6 when we were like, oh, he's 2-1 as a starter, and those wins are.
We felt so good. We felt so good.
Yeah, we were like, we might have it here. And then the world just came tumbling down at us. Since then, it's been loss. Yeah. You got next week at the Las Vegas Raiders, and then the following week hosting the Dallas Cowboys. I know for a long time we've looked at this and said, there's that win in week 17 where we feel is maybe the game where we go, oh, they should win that. Do you still feel that way in week 17?
With this present offensive line, no, I do not. Strictly because of the offensive line. If I've seen the Raiders play, and they got a pretty good pass rusher, Max Crosby. He could get after it quite a bit. That makes me nervous. The back end of the Raiders is not that fantastic, but neither are the Giants receivers. So it comes down to the offensive lines they can protect. As far as the Raiders' offense, they're not that great either. They're not. They're garbage. That's not saying much. But the Giants' defense, if they can get a turnover or 2 and give the offense at least, I would say maybe 2 or 3 more possessions more than the Raiders, they have a shot. They have a shot. And I say that because I just think the Raiders will, since it's a home game in Vegas, they'll have the upper hand just in that. But other than that, that's it. So I still think, and you're right, earlier in these shows, I penciled this as a big win for definitely win for the Giants. Not so much. Now I'm going ifs and wins and whatevers. It just looks ugly. It just looks ugly. 2 ugly teams vying for the number 1 overall pick.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to say, it's really bad when you go, Yeah, give us a pick or two against the Raiders, then we might have a chance.
Yeah.
We're way down in the dumps now when we're talking about
Uh,
it here. Because it is just one of those games you're like, I can tell you this now. Every single person that watches it, you're a sicko. Just want to throw that
oh
out.
gosh.
No
We're
one's
glutton
gonna
for
have
punishment.
fun. Yeah, no one's gonna have fun watching this game. It's holiday weekend. If you're sitting there with your family and they're like, "Hey, you want to watch Giants Raiders?" Just stop talking to those people.
Oh wow.
They're not looking for your best interest. That's all I can tell you about that one. Any chance you think that the Giants stand against the Cowboys in Week 18, who are now
Well,
also officially eliminated from playoff contention?
oh, let me think about this for about 2 seconds. I want to say yes, because neither by that time Dallas. I don't know the score. I don't know if they won't beat the Chargers. I'm not sure. I don't know the score of that game, but they're about mathematically eliminated as well.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I'm going to say neither team has nothing to play for other than bragging rights of whatever. But let me see. Hold on. Okay, they lost, so they're out.
Yep.
But Dallas is better than the Raiders, and their roster is loaded with a lot of good players, very good players. I don't see the Giants beating the Cowboys either. I don't,
Nope. I was
no.
gonna say that to me feels like a good old fashioned, as the kids say, B2A, just belt to ass. That's all that's gonna feel like in that one.
Yeah.
As it currently stands, because we got 10 minutes left, we can have this conversation, right? As it
Mhm.
currently stands, the Giants have the number one overall pick. If they do lose out, they will obviously keep the number one overall pick.
Yeah.
You're in the front office. What are you doing with it? Are you keeping it? Are you trading it? What's the move?
I'm the general manager, number
Yep.
one pick. I'm going to call the Miami Dolphins and dangle that carrot. Hey, look what we got here for you. I will get as many picks as I can for that number one overall. Miami needs a quarterback because the benching of Tua is telling me so. They're not
Yep.
sold on him, and that money that they owe him, they don't want to finish paying him. So I'm gonna dangle that carrot with Miami. I don't. I think they're down to ninth, 10th, 11th pick. I'm not sure. I'm gonna trade down and load up on as many draft picks as possible um, for that pick. Now, based on what they're going to give me, they'll trade their spot 10 or 11, and maybe a number one for next year or a second round, a third pick this year, whatever. We'll figure that part out. But I'm trading out of that pick. Find a team who needs a quarterback. Right now, I'm seeing Miami. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what you got to do. I don't think there's a benefit to picking with the first overall pick if you're the Giants. I don't. You don't need the quarterback.
No.
You're not. There's no offensive tackle to take at one. Not taking the edge rusher. There's no corner to take at one, and corners don't go one overall.
No.
You're not taking a receiver at one. There's
You
no like
shouldn't.
those are the only five positions that should be in consideration for it. It's the premium positions. Those
Mm.
are the only five you should consider. You don't need any of them. A bunch of the teams below you need multiple of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and get that if you can, and just call it a day at that point. I mean, but right now it's looking like it might legitimately be next week. Whoever wins takes himself out of contention for the first overall pick.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at right now. The Giants and the Raiders are the only teams with 2 wins this season. Raiders obviously not done for the week. Giants are. But for me, I'm like, you got to trade out of that. That has to be the move.
Mhm.
And I know that we spoke about this. I want to say it was on the show we spoke about this the week that the Giants lost to the Bears and then fired Brian Dable. I think it was
Mm.
Joe Shane. I don't see the reason to keep him I'm just gonna I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't see the reason to keep him. I don't see the benefit to keep him. I look at this roster.
I concur.
I go, this roster has like 10 good pieces to it, but 10 good pieces in 4 years, and we're gonna say that's enough to justify keeping. I don't know. I know that they're like, oh yeah, they want him to be part of the hiring process. I don't.
No.
I don't. I'm not the owner, but I definitely don't want that.
Yeah, he showed me what he could do for the last 4 years. I'm good. But let's get back to the draft. If the Giants were to win this game, right, against the Raiders, and they go second overall, right? That's not a bad spot at number 2. Yep. Not a bad spot. I mean, because the Raiders are going to take their quarterback. They're going to take either Mendoza or whoever. They're going to take a quarterback. But at 2, things could get pretty interesting. And you'll listen to some offers. I know I would, to see what's available. What do the Giants need for next year? I tend to think I want to build that defense up a little bit more. I haven't really scoured too much of the college rosters yet. I'll look at that next week or 2 weeks from now. But there'll be some talent up there. Is it number 2 overall? Probably. Probably. I will look into that. But if somebody offers me something for that second spot, it's because at 3, 4, 5, those teams don't have needs at quarterbacks. I don't believe. Tennessee, who was there?
Jets are now number 4.
Jets.
I wanted to ask you that too with the Jets.
Yeah,
I saw someone float that the Jets should trade the number 1 with the Giants to get Mendoza from Indiana. Do you think they would do that? Because personally, like, I know that there's this.
Swap at 3 for 4. You're talking about Jets, the New York thing.
I'm talking about Giants trading with the Jets here to get the Jets their franchise quarterback, because the Giants and the Jets, even though they don't play each other in the regular season every year, they're always compared to each other. Like every fan base or both those fan bases always talk about.
Yeah.
Well, at least I'm not a Jets fan. Like I say that all the time. I tell my Jets fan friends, at least I'm not a Jets fan. You're then giving them an advantage because someone wins every trade, right?
Yeah.
And so do you give the Jets that opportunity if you're the Giants? Let's say you're at 2 and they're at 4.
Yes. Go ahead, because the Giants, the history with the Giants is way trumps the Jets. We got 4 championships. We've been to 5 Super Bowls. They've been to 1. I'm not even going to talk about the Jets, but I would do it simply because of this. Based on what you could get for that 4 spot, you want 2? Give me 4. Give me your first round this year. Give me your first round next year. Okay, give me a 2 and a 3 this year. You better get some for that.
Yeah, because they're going for a quarterback, so they got the quarterback premium.
Yeah, if you just want to trade spots and give me something. If I'm GM, I want your number 1. I want your spot this year. I want a 2. I want your number 1 in 2027. Okay? And then I want somebody off your roster. That's what I would do. So if you want your franchise guy, you think he's at 2? Cool. Pay me. That's what I got.
That's exactly what it is too, because you get to go, well, if you want a quarterback, and I know you're coming for a quarterback, you're going to pay more because you're not only just trading draft picks, you're trading to get a franchise quarterback. And
but you got to find another team. We'll do a draft show. We got to find another team who needs a quarterback. That's the thing about it, because
Arizona may be moving off of Kyler Murray.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you could get those 2 to compete against each other, the Jets and hey, it'll be a great thing to do. Hey, what you gonna give me? What you gonna give me?
Yep. And Arizona may be in the most competitive division in football right now with the NFC West.
Yep.
It's a toughie. It's a toughie. This is the New York Giants.
So whether you sit 1 or 2, the Giants are in a good situation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look, it sucks to sit through a year where you have the first overall pick. But like once the year ends, it's like, all right, It's getting better. It like we know it's getting better. We're getting capital. You're gonna shed some of the fat from the roster. Things
Yep.
are gonna go up from here, and
Yep.
Giants fans should take solace in that one. Thank you so much for checking out the New York Giants Squad Show. I am Brandon Olsen. This is Mark Collins, two-time Super Bowl champ. We'll be back Thursday for a midweek show, and then again next Sunday after. Honestly, like I was gonna say, hopefully keeping the first overall pick, but like I also want to win every game. So I'll tell you, I'm hoping the Raiders win today, lose next week, and then win in week 18. So they got 4 wins, Giants got 3, and we're still all good there. Thank you so much. We will see you all next time.